Sweet.
I'll sit by that.
We're having some kid conversations anyway.
Well, for those of you guys who don't know, Clark, we know through karaoke.
Okay, got
He's
it.
a RAF Club veteran, and
Yes.
he was the DJ at our wedding.
Yes.
Some of you RAF.
I didn't know that. I was there. I remember how we met you. I remember you from the Beacon Club.
Oh yeah, definitely. That was a fun spot.
Yeah, he has pretty good aha. And a lot of pretty good other songs. Are you still doing those regional contests?
I think it was the same director for 2 years. And, last year I actually got to represent the U.S. at Worlds in Panama. Yeah, and then this year I was support staff in Finland for the Yeah.
Hey everybody, I think before we get started there's some food out in the hallway, so if you are hungry, why don't you go grab a plate, and then we're going to get started probably in, let's say, the next 10 to 15 minutes. Okay?
And Jack, he was like my party before. I feel like, yeah, he probably feels like already. Oh, yeah. That's right. Everything's fine. Who's scared? It is a little odd. All of the like, did you have that right? Yeah. It's like what I want to lunch you do, but still talking about it. But I could not talk to her. Because everything else again for but these are for the memory, yeah, like if you wanted to sign it or whatever, so it feels like doing it. Yeah, it's and he doesn't have it any other time, right? I'm gonna put together. No, he has all the albums. So he put out all the pictures. These are 4x6s. No, put together. Okay. Yeah, so it's gonna go back. Okay, that was our question. 5, 6, 5. She's really nice. The whole side of this. That's what I say. All their specific you're still I always say that he just to be out here. People like that's good. Yeah, and then if it doesn't get better, then I would say like I'm worried that it would be that's really nice. Well, the question is the Strider is all so it's not long. Well, they're not I'm getting a
No, don't worry. How about you a spanakopita?
Sorry, I'm not keto because that's next, so it's yours now.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah, it's all right. Appetizers, there's desserts and things. I mean, we know the process. I had to cater a certain portion of it, so it's all. Well, you can see what a beautifully curated plate.
It was just like so much food out there. It's like you're still like stocking up on all these things.
Yeah.
You guys came into my house, and he was busy with
Yeah, we're like, just call, please call. So then I had a case of fruit that walked into my office that was
My pleasure.
me too, and I called 911. It was like, this kid cannot breathe. And the scary thing is that like, because it's upper airway, you can't even like, it doesn't help to do anything until up front,
yeah, and I have but like
Usually the only person I know who I'd say has like
so I'm like
formal
in mine I don't
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I didn't have that until like last week. So
I don't think so. I think you just really identify with the world
apparently. I was looking at that. I always
then the owners thought they wanted to open up a big show in there.
You guys want anything to drink? I'm gonna grab a Bloody Mary.
I'll go with you.
Okay, come with me. Do you want anything? I gotta go back today because the dogs are by themselves.
But they left those puppets, so we had to get rid of them because they were just weird.
How are you, Nick?
I'm good. Yeah.
A lot of what?
I've only met her once, I think, before this meeting.
How's the snow coverage looking at Sophomia Summit?
Pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah. When do they open? All dependent on the snow.
We'll see. They're pretty excited about the new parking policies and their new lifts at Alpental and Summit Central.
That news is going on
This
like
is
a
clean over here. Meals.
You're doing good.
You guys. You guys.
What's the new parking policy?
New coffee.
Well, if you're not a pass holder, then yeah, you gotta like reserve and pay. And if you're an Icon pass holder, you also have to like deal with reservation and parking.
The controversy, which I know you can't really do this, is because that block on it's the snow park or the area behind it, and they're basically saying like, you know, it's public land, and they're saying like, no, we're charging you for it, and so they're keeping out all the people that
They're recreating in the backcountry.
yeah.
Well, in my experience, because they're always like, you know, backcountry skiers, you can't park here, but they all do anyway. And I have not witnessed parking enforcement doing anything about it.
The ability to is not there.
They also try and tell people that you have to go on the other side of the creek to head up towards Pineapple Pass. But like the uptrack is always from that parking lot.
What's the other one? Oh no, vegetarian sauce. What's the other one? Maybe a mushroom?
Like it had some too. Oh, maybe mushroom.
We pay them for Mary and
I
I.
thought they both said fish. So are they? Are you dying?
Would you like some black coffee to take the edge off? What is the sauce?
Because this is really Adam would want. Having out behind the dumpster. I was walking down the aisle.
Oh my gosh.
And then where's my mic?
You are the best. That's accurate. Don't forget. Wow. Not in Nevada. Uh-oh. That's 50. Oh, she was worried about rowdiness. No. So, yeah. How's Bean doing? His body problem? Oh, sorry about that. I couldn't get it out with one hand. Yeah, I'll have that back. Can I retrieve that? Thanks. Business. He's being inaugurated. Yes, he's being. It goes back this way. Thanks. So when I went on my trip, the babysitter who watched and said he had no accidents. I was like, that's
that's great, yeah. And then over the next 2 days, and I was like, yep, being inside. Being? Yep. I was like, holy shit. See, he's like a toddler. It's me. I'm the problem. I'm the problem. It's me. I was like, holy shit. Like, we talked about this. Like, I have high energy and I'm a little like, you know, my life is hectic, so I'm like learning. So I'm trying to like talk softly, walk slowly. It's sort of, I think he's getting a little bit more, a little bit. He's still,
Did you try the calming music?
calming music, no, but I've got this calming pheromone, right? Yeah, it doesn't matter. They're giving him a different cocktail now.
Okay, we're gonna get started now.
I'll let you grab.
Let's see. I was gonna pull up this one. I know. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to say a few words. First off, I want to thank everybody for being here to help us remember Adam. I especially want to thank Sonia, Matt, and Maggie for helping us organize this. I know this is a very emotional day for a lot of us, myself included. So I'm going to say a few words, and then Sonia is going to say a few words, and then we're going to go through a slideshow, and then afterwards we're going to give folks an opportunity to come up and say a few words if they want to, and then Maggie's going to give the final eulogy. Where is Maggie? She's right there. Okay, you switch tables. Okay, good. I was like, yeah, I had some. I guess I've had some reservations about speaking at first, and I guess with that, I wanted to remember Adam. I wanted to sort of process it personally, but the last communication that we had together really encouraged me to get up here and to say a few things. So. I wrote some stuff down, so I don't know why, but I gave this a title. And then I woke up. You'll get there. There's a reason why. Okay, so I met Adam in September of 1993. So 31 years ago, we both started at Evergreen together, and I just moved here. I had just moved to the Pacific Northwest from a small town in Connecticut. I had never set foot in the state of Washington before. I'd never been even to the Pacific Northwest. It was the farthest place I could go from where I grew up, and I was very scared and very confused and not knowing what I was doing. Adam was one of the first people I met my first week at school, and we were in the dorms together, and he was incredibly kind. He was very articulate and honest, and just incredibly sarcastic. And something I think that first interaction, it carried on for 31 years, but something about Adam was that I knew that I could go to him and tell him anything, and he wouldn't judge me. He would listen and just, you know, and I feel like as you get older, you have fewer and fewer friends like that. And anyways, so when I moved back to Seattle from Boston in 2004, I really wanted to get more involved in sort of supporting social justice causes, and I really wanted to get involved in fundraising and putting together music events. And Adam connected me with Matt Ashworth over there and others to help me sort of connect with folks in the music community. And that led to creating a nonprofit that went on for 10 years, and with Adam's help and others, we raised over $300,000 for local charities. That wouldn't have existed unless Adam had helped kind of bridge that gap and centered me in this community, in that community. Adam and I had this weird thing where, this is sort of, you know, in the last, I'd say 5 to 10 years, but we had this weird thing where we would just sort of like, we would go drive down to Olympia for a weekend, just the two of us, and we'd go see some of his old friends in Ole, and we'd go get breakfast, we'd go catch a show, but there was really no, it wasn't really like us trying to like relive our glory days or anything. It was just like something we would go do together. We did this for several years, just randomly off and on. And one of those trips, I remember we got in the car and we were sitting in traffic in the middle of Tacoma, and he just said, "I'm getting divorced." You know, and I don't know if he had told anybody that at that point. And that felt like the longest drive to Olympia I've ever experienced. but for 2 days, I listened to him like just work through it, you know, and process it. And I did the best I could as a friend, but I just didn't, you know, I had never experienced it. You know, lo and behold, about 3 years later, he was doing the same thing for me. So, I'm almost done here, but I remember one of the first time that I introduced him to my fiance. Actually, sorry, I was introducing my kid to who would become my fiance at the time, my girlfriend at the time, and Adam was with me, and I was absolutely terrified. Like, I was just so afraid of how it was going to go, and I remember him just being very calming and just kind of centering me, just trying to keep my cool, so I just didn't blow it. Anyways, I have too many memories of Adam to share, but I think over the last couple years, as he started to have more health problems, I remember being worried that I wasn't there enough for him as a friend. Like, I would reach out, and sometimes I wouldn't hear right away, and I remember feeling some guilt at the time. Like, was I there for him enough? Did I connect with him enough? You know, but the last few times we did get together, his health had improved. He had lost a bunch of weight. He seemed like he was full of energy. He was in really good spirits, you know, and it was wonderful. Like, he just seemed to be like kind of taking this turn, like things were improving in his life. The thing that really surprised me, this is the last email exchange that we had. Our birthdays are a day apart. And we would always message each other, you know, on our birthdays. He was a year younger than me. And so, this was the last text exchange we had. I said, happy birthday, Adam, how are you? And he said, thanks, I'm kind of having a rough go of things. I've been having these fainting spells and extreme fatigue, and my nephrologist is going to schedule some heart tests. In other news, I'm turning the same age as my father was when he died. So that's been weighing on me heavily. The end of No Country has never been more meaningful. So, are you guys familiar with that movie and book? Yeah. So, I'll give you kind of a short synopsis here, but you know, the end of that film and book, it just emphasizes the idea, you know, the character of Belle, he can't always find justice or make sense of the world around him. You know, it's definitely about just coming to terms with how random life is. That there's things around us, things change, and we don't have control over it. And sometimes you just have to accept that that's how it's going to go. And that message to me, in a way, was that Adam, I feel like, I'm not a religious person, but I do feel like Adam knew what was happening, and he was coming to terms with it. And I feel like he understood something was happening in his life, that there was a change coming. And in a way, I do think there's something in there about him being able to see his dad again. And I think there was some acceptance there, that he was happy, like he was okay with it. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Reg.
It's hard just to walk up here, so I apologize ahead. Firstly,
Adam would be so angry to be missing this right now. All I've been able to think about over the last couple of months is how much he would want to be here. Or people have flown in from other states that he hadn't been able to see for some years, you know, and his family, and like to have everybody gathered together, like he would be really upset to be missing this. I like to think he's not actually missing it, but I don't know. I met Adam in 2001, right after I moved to Olympia. I moved right after 9/11, and the Capitol building was dark, and it was weird times, and Adam also lived in Olympia, and we just became besties right away. Like it was really quick, and strangely, our paths have paralleled for many years. You know, that he eventually moved up to the Seattle area where I was, and most recently lived in Renton, maybe a couple miles as the crow flies from me. So I did have the luxury of getting to see Adam quite a lot. We hosted him at our house a lot. Adam really showed up for me. I don't want to make this about me, but all the good stuff and the bad stuff, you know, going through hard times and good times. I feel like Adam mostly really disliked any boyfriend I had, whether it was that they shook hands too strong or not enough, or that they weren't nice enough to me, until I met Jason and he married us. As I know, he's married so many people in this room even. So we weren't the only ones, but Adam really participated in a lot of days of joy with all of us. But for me too, he participated in a lot of those hard days. He came to my mom's funeral when I lost her. He came to the hospital the night my kid was born. You know, that's a really small circle of people that you let come to the hospital when you have a baby and hold your brand new baby. You know, and vice versa. Like, I like to think that I was there for his days of joy, which there were so many, and some of those really hard days as well, working through some of those hard things that happened to us in life. You're going to see a lot of pictures here in a little bit, and you're going to notice that a lot of these pictures are not just of Adam, but they're large group pictures. It really shows those days of joy. Again, Adam loved a social event. He loved getting together. He loved sports, which is an event that you all get together for. I went to sporting events with Adam. He loved music. Been to so many shows with Adam. I know so many of us have. We had tickets for Amy Mann last night. I didn't make it, but you know, it's those kinds of things that he loved getting together and doing those fun things. He loved Seafair so much. You'll see some Seafair photos. He loved the Muppet Show. Like, he loved media, you know, television and movies and the things that, you know, he didn't like scary movies so much. He really liked joyful things and deep introspection things. He loved his cats. If anybody ever knew Janice, especially, gosh, he loved Janice. And he really loved his mom, Maggie. I want you to know how many nice things he said about you when you weren't listening. You were, you know, all the time he was steadfast in his love for you and for his family. His family and friends were really the most important thing for him. So you're going to see so much of that joy and beauty and the spark that was Adam. And I just don't really know. It hasn't truly hit me yet. I think once the business of these kinds of things are over is when it actually gets a little bit harder to be left and with those. But Adam would want you to remember those memories, and in that spirit, there are blue cards on all of your tables, and kind of there in the back, there's a box to put them, to, you know, write down one of your best memories of Adam, or a note for Maggie specifically. Those will be going to her. But I know that we all have those stories to tell. I know some of your stories, but not all. I hope that you'll be able to share those with us. But yeah, I think that's all I can get out, and what I'm capable of today. But thank you so much for coming. It's exciting for me to see so many of you too, and I'm glad that we're all here together.
Gun show.
Okay, so this is an opportunity for if anyone wants to stand up and say a few things. Okay.
Hi guys. We're saying that Adams. No, or the rest. Sorry. So it was a hard time during when I saw the slideshow. It made me cry. The best part was me and Adam were together, and it made me a big cry. And now I want to either Erica up to come and help me. It's ready for Adam now. So now we're going to announce some names up. And Erica is one of them, and all is going to go sit down on the big dots. Yeah, here. I'm going to say one more word and then it's your turn. So my mom is up here to make me comfort because Adam died. So we are actually going to call some names up by the number of the row and tables. So please watch out. Erica's going to announce one name up to announce their memory. No. All the rest stop.
Thank you so much, Lena. Good job. No, let me sit down. I'm Erica, and these are my kids, Lena and Arlo, who knew our friend as Uncle Adam. He served that role so kindly and so sweetly for their whole lives, and I know for a lot of other kiddos too. He was so beautiful with the littles. I've known Adam for 32 years, and I first encountered Adam as the 17-year-old survivor of a lifetime of private school. And he was such a deep breath of life into the Lakeside School. I don't see any other Lakesiders here, I don't think so. I know there were some going to come, but my heavens, it was a tightly wound place, and I just felt like a breath of life when he came there our senior year. And he really empowered me to find a new path, a new set of opportunities, a new way of thinking. We got to know each other in the chambers of Herr Wichterman, our philosophy teacher. I don't know if any of you heard him talk about Herr Wichterman, but we just got to sit and drink Lapsang Souchang and talk about existentialism and open our minds as young people, which I don't think I would have ever had an opportunity to do without his company and his brilliant open mind. He really changed the whole trajectory of my life. So many different memories came up watching a lifetime of pictures of him. But there were a lot of years in between where we didn't spend a lot of time together. But he was always the person that I would come back to. The new person had to meet Adam, and we would always connect. And it just always felt like home. When we really reconnected a few years ago, the familiarity was so strong that the primary thing that I feel about him, it's so much better with you here, is his ability to listen. Nobody I've ever encountered in the world could listen and participate so empathetically, so genuinely, so much leading with their heart. Thank you, sweetie. Just the blessing of having somebody in my life, my whole life, that would always know me and see me and hear me and reflect me. Nobody does that. Just such an amazing gift. Just a second, okay? I think what I wanted to say about that is just gave me the opportunity to be known. And the second thing that empathy and that listening and his brilliance lended was the ability to laugh so deeply, because he was paying attention to all the nuance and all of the subtlety and all of the context and history of the conversation that just made it so ridiculously, perfectly hysterical. I've never had the opportunity to laugh with anybody the way that I always have been able to with him. I think the last two more things I want to say. The other is how he's always shared his mom with me. And I feel so blessed to have Maggie in my life now and for always and moving forward. And I feel like Adam is still with us because they are so magically akin to each other with their intuition and their grace. Just this ethereal way of moving through the world with heart and intuition. Yes. The last thing is we were at, the kids and I came up and stayed on the Lewis River, halfway in between here and Corvallis where we live. And we were having our little morning breakfast in the hotel there. And I was just really trying to get here. You know, it's just so much to get everybody moving and doing. And they all have their breakfast. And I walk over to the coffee stand. And as I put my hand on the coffee cup, on comes Rainbow Connection on this little musical station right next to the coffee. This is he's just a blessing in my life today, every day, since I was a kid. And now I'm going to let my friend Arlo say one word.
Thank you.
Do stand. Okay.
Although I don't know if the camera's set up to actually see your body. I think it's just going to be like
Yeah. All right, I'm going to give this a go. Didn't know if I could get through it before, but that slideshow made me really, really happy. And so my name's Matt Ashworth. I first met Adam in the late 90s when he was the building manager of the apartment I moved into in Olympia. And we quickly hit it off over just a shared love of music and culture and ideas and sports and humor, and pretty much became fast best friends and remained that way throughout his life. After that, we moved out of that building and got an apartment together and got to meet and have the rest of my life. And I think, Sonia, when you were saying it's hard not to make this about you, it made me realize that it's hard for anybody to talk about Adam without making it about you, because that's kind of what Adam was. He was there for me with the empathetic listening that you mentioned, Erica, at every rough spot in my life. He was one of very few people that kind of stood up and called me when I was dealing with drug addiction, and quite literally helped save my life. And he was there for all of the trials and tribulations in my life, as well as the joys and the triumphs that came after. And so sometimes I just think Adam loved other people and cared about them so much that he maybe didn't have everything he had left to care about himself. And I think what Adam might want us to do is is just care that way about the other people in our lives and bring that spirit that he brought to all of us, to the relationships, to the people we have here, and celebrating his life is a nice reminder to do that. So, thank you.
I thought a lot about trying to prepare something for this. And there's no preparation. There's nothing that can ready your heart, your soul, your memories of someone like Adam. He was a force multiplier. He was an individual that, in the best of times, you wanted him right there. No one laughed deeper, louder, more infectiously than that man. It was the highlight of my day if I could make him laugh like that. And I had the benefit of living with him through numerous situations in some of our rowdiest, most obnoxious times. And he means the world to me. And watching that slideshow, I look around and I know that you all meant the world to him. He shared with me so many amazing memories and so much love from all the different aspects. We always joked, because we both had a little bit of an introvert vibe kind of going. We don't like people, but we love gatherings. And we would get together and he would share this, but we would joke about the old Seinfeld bit about when worlds collide. It was always so weird when different groups of friends would get together and like these people would have a piece of you and these people would have a different piece of you. And Adam, despite that little bit of sometimes introversion, everyone got all of him. Everyone got the whole kit and caboodle, the whole enchilada. He was there and present. I never felt more seen and more heard than when I spent time with Adam. And as time goes by, with the various things that life throws at you, it becomes really easy to sometimes feel like you're fading into the background. And there's a handful of those people that bring you back and remind you who you are. And Adam was the best of me. Adam loved with more heart and more vigor than any man I knew. And you saw that. He lived life to the fullest. Every moment was an adventure. And as life does, it throws things at you that you're not always prepared for. And we would get together and be misery chicks together and sad bastards and enjoy lamenting some of the woes. But I never, ever heard regret. I never heard, woe is me. I never heard, oh, I'm a victim. He was always looking forward. He was always looking to the next great thing. And because of all the people in this room, he had so many great things to look forward to. He had so many things that he loved, whether the simplicity of sitting down and sharing a really bad beer in a really bad dive bar somewhere, to the joy of being there for the birth of your child. To the joy of marrying, he married me. I'll share a story. My first wedding, not fantastic, but he was great. And my very favorite picture of Adam, and I could not find it, was a picture of him walking off into the sunset, like his job here was done. And it summed him up so well. But at that wedding, my dad had made a joke that Adam was actually my first wife. And that from that point on, we introduced each other as our heterosexual life partners. And it's just the way it was with Adam. I look around and I see everyone here, and I think he would be so touched. And when everything happened, as we are all touching upon, that it becomes it's so personal. How do you not make it something about yourself? And we all look back and we think, God, what could I have done differently? Could I have been there for him? Could we have talked more? Could we have just been something different? And my biggest fear was that he was alone. And I look here today, now, and he was never alone for a minute with all of the people that love and feel for him. So even though I'm very far away, out in the middle of nowhere, Texas, I know that he wasn't. And I'd like to share one last thing before I completely ramble on. Maggie, it's easy for us as friends to talk about some of the things that he said. There's never been one doubt that he loved you, that he absolutely adored you. The one thing I want to share with you that sometimes get overlooked is that more than that, he respected you. He spoke of you in ways that I can only imagine. I wish you could have heard it. From hard decisions to easy decisions, to the way that you lived your life, to the choices that you made, and the person that you are, he respected you. And for a man of integrity and heart like Adam, I can't think of a higher praise. So from his first wife to my mother-in-law, I share with you that memory and that love. And you had an amazing son. And I love him dearly. Thank you.
Well, I can't promise that I'm going to make it through this. I'm Sarah. I represent Adam's derelict Oli friends. Right in the back. I met Adam in my early 20s in Olympia. And I just want to start off by saying that, God, I loved him so much. Just like everybody here did, I know. He was the MC at my wedding, my Queen-themed wedding. He also led the choir to my a cappella Queen choir at the wedding. We had a mutual love for karaoke and Iron Maiden. We went to many Iron Maiden shows together, and I went to this last one a few weeks ago in honor of him, and it was great. Adam came to every single restaurant opening that I've ever had. I've had about 5 now. He was there for every single one of them. He always showed up. Adam always showed up for me, always. And just as I echo the same sentiment as everybody else, I hope I showed up for him. Because I fear that he was alone as well. And I live very close to him. And so we were able to go out a lot together. We always joked that we were going to have lunch at IKEA. Because we live so close to IKEA. I don't want to ramble on too much because I just don't think I can handle it, but I want to share the last text I had with him a few months ago. When he was falling ill, they put him on a diabetic drug called Ozempic, I think, and it was a celebrity drug that because it made people lose weight, but it also hollowed out their faces and made them look weird. I have to pull it up. He's BMOC. That's his only nickname, just so you know. So he's BMOC in my phone. So I sent him something on Instagram about the celebrity Ozempic stuff, and I said, was this the medication that you were talking about? And he said, that's the one. He said, I can't wait until I look like a warmed over corpse too. And I responded by saying, dream big, kiddo. Thank you so much. I loved him so much.
Hi, I'm incredibly nervous to do this. So it's so lovely to see this huge community of people who loved this incredible man. I met Adam when I was 19, and I will truly say that Adam was the best person to meet if you had an unhappy childhood. He was just a wonderful soul, and we met at the YMCA, and he made that job so much more fun than it was. He was funny, he was intelligent, and he made the most poignant observations of anyone there. What I've come to understand about Adam is that he was always right in the end. I always thought I was right, but in the end he was. I think everyone knows about his love for pop culture, which was not my love at all. I was from Ole, I liked the local music scene. He hated my taste in music, which definitely made living together challenging. But I actually saw The Big Lebowski with him in the theater, and he couldn't stop laughing the whole time. And for me, I don't get it. At the time, I was like, what is funny about this? This is so obnoxious. Now, it's like the funniest movie ever that I love, and I actually introduced it to my daughter. So Adam was always right about this kind of stuff. And I think what he did is that he listened underneath what people were saying. And that's truly a gift to have someone do that for you. He definitely made me a better person. And he had a really, really strong sense of self. I wonder where he got that from, Maggie. I got to meet Maggie just like Erica was so eloquently saying, just being able to have Maggie in your life is like this extra gift. And after meeting Maggie, then I understood how in the world somebody like Adam was created. So I think that Adam is here today with us. this morning my Spotify was playing Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, and Bob Dylan, two musicians I never would have listened to had I not met Adam. So there's so much love in here, and there's no possible way Adam would ever have been alone, because we all loved him so much, and that's what remains.
I don't think any of us wanted to agree on what music we were going to play, because I feel like, yeah, Adam is judging us right now in music selection, and that is why we put Matt in charge, because he's the only person. So,
if anybody knows the Handsome Family song that Adam loved, that he said he wanted to play at his funeral, I couldn't figure it out. I would love to know, but I remember him saying, okay, you do. I'll ask you after the comments. Okay.
Hi there, my name's Andy Broken Bro. Incidentally, my older sister was one of Adam's high school teachers at Lakeside. And you know, there's always something good that comes out of something bad. So when we lose someone, one of the good things is that, you know, it brought us all together. So we're a very, you know, different, eclectic group of people, all joined by our love for Adam. I was Adam's physician. So as many of you knew, he had kidney failure. He was on dialysis. And dialysis is a mechanical treatment for people with kidney failure. It's very hard to go through. Each session's 4 hours long. You've got to get to the dialysis center. You've got to get hooked up to the machine. You've got to dialyze for 4 hours. You've got to get unhooked. I mean, you've got to get home. People don't feel well with dialysis. They're always tired. They have a lot of muscle cramps. They often feel very washed out after dialysis. So it takes a lot to go through a treatment like that. He was on dialysis for 3 years. It takes a lot of coping mechanisms to be able to deal with something like that. And Adam had a lot of coping mechanisms, and it was in watching him go through a really difficult time that I learned a lot about him. In other words, it's easy to be happy and, you know, pleasant and feel well when everything's going great. But when you see someone really go through a challenging time, that's when you can really see someone's colors. And Adam, he always impressed me. One of the things I learned about him is he's very, very intelligent. He always learned about his dialysis. He wanted to understand exactly how the machine worked, how his dialysis prescription could be modified to fix this problem or that problem. He actually did a very good job managing his own dialysis. I think if he had chosen a different path, he would have been an excellent physician. Second of all, he's also just very smart. I don't think I've ever met anyone who's watched as many episodes of the Discovery Channel as he has. He knew everything about everything, whether it was sports or politics or nature or whatever it was. And so all of our conversations were very educational for me. He was also very goal-driven. And I don't know if you guys had experienced that in your interactions with him, but he really wanted to get a kidney transplant. And there are a lot of barriers to getting a kidney transplant, but slowly but surely he was chipping away at those barriers. And he would have achieved his goal if it hadn't been for an acute medical complication that led to his demise. And finally, he's just a really nice guy. I mean, many of you refer to the fact that he was a great listener. I mean, he listened to me, and he would ask about my family, about my kids, and about what I was doing. So he always made me feel very special. You know, you go in there trying to make the patient feel better, and he made me feel better. So it's a very unique gift that he had. And so our relationship transcended the usual, you know, doctor-patient relationship into friendship. And I am a much better person, better physician for having known him. Thank you.
This isn't really my jam, but at my 40th birthday party, people were gathered around and Adam stepped up to tell a story, so I'm reciprocating. I've actually met Adam when I was 15 years old. This is hi, Adam. I'll try and make this quick because it's not going to last long, but I met Adam before he could drive, before we were drinking, before we grew up and had all these fabulous experiences that you're all describing. I regret that though we did stay in intermittent contact, we didn't see each other a lot once we went away to college and kind of went our separate paths. I think actually the last time I saw Adam, it was in the slideshow when he was wearing space pants. That was at a Halloween party at my house up in Bellingham, and he drove up there to come to that party. And I don't know who, I was going to submit the picture, but somebody else did, so he must have liked it enough that he shared it with somebody else. But that was 2016, and I think that was the last time that I saw him in person. We went to different high schools. We met each other through the Snohomish County Youth Initiative, which was a YMCA program in Everett, and we became fast friends and spent a lot of time together. He taught me a lot. I too had gone to many years of Catholic private school, Erica, so I remember Adam just opening up a whole world to me, and he just was the kindest, gentlest, best listener I had ever been around, and he was just real. And I think he was probably the first person I've ever met, maybe the only person I've ever met that was like that had that impact on me. I could tell him anything. And so we had conversations off and on over the years. Would occasionally see each other, but obviously not enough. But it makes me so happy to be in this room with all the people who basically got to know him after I did. We had some really wonderful years together, having coffee at Sherry's with another friend of ours who we were kind of a trio for a while. The three of us would put all of our money together and we could afford one cup of coffee, and made friends with the server who would keep filling it for us, and we'd write her thank you notes on napkins as our tip. We worked together. Probably one of the first things that we did together at Snohomish County Youth Initiative is that we planned a benefit concert to raise money for AIDS relief in Uganda. We were like 15. I think about that now, and I don't know how we got to that place, but we did, and having serious arguments about whether or not we should allow the smokers to re-enter the venue afterwards. So, and I was always the uptight one, you might, when I was around Adam. So he really was wonderful to me, and I appreciate him, and I love him, and I think he's my oldest best friend. And so I'm really happy to be in a room full of people that loved him as much as I do.
Right. Anybody else? I think, Maggie, are you prepared to give the eulogy? Okay.
Hey, you raised them.
You did great. I'm just holding the microphone. I should be good. Here.
Hello. Oh, yeah, that works. I'm the culprit known as his mother. And I was not expecting Adam to die when he did. He was on a fast loop of losing enough weight for that kidney to come to him. Somehow his health had improved. He wasn't falling anymore. He was not tripping. He didn't need to use a cane. He was so happy. And I didn't know, but I know now, that in some fashion he was getting ready to go. And the day of his last surgery, his brother Dan and his sister-in-law Amy and I and Adam were on, somebody help me.
Group text.
Thank you, group text. And there was sort of a lighthearted, joyous experience we had, I think. And he was very crabby because they tried to do the surgery the day before, and that kind of didn't work, and why weren't they coming in to get him? And I said, I'll come, I can come right now. He said, no, come when I'm done. Because I had lived at that hospital for about 4 years, as he had several surgeries. And then all of a sudden he said, oh my God, they're coming for me, yay. And he didn't say, I'll see you on the other side. He said, radio silence. Last words he said to us. And so I don't know about Dan and Amy, how you were that day, but I was really joyous. And then very soon after that, I am an intuitive, and occasionally it's correct. And I had a feeling I'd never had before, and it was so huge. It wasn't just in my body, it was not just in the ground, it was not just in the sky. And I ran and got my keys and got in the car and drove to the hospital. And I knew when he left. I didn't want to know that. But it was so graceful and light and incredibly sweet. My God. So, I want to say a couple of quick things, and then I have a really good story about him. The quick things were he was born, and he was a mellow baby, and nothing on the planet could make him hurry. And I don't think he knew he didn't have the step-it-up gene. And he was tested once to be a gifted child, and the guy came out and said, your little boy is definitely gifted. And like, really? And I thought, well, he's also just a little kid, but okay. And he said, I just need you to know, your husband and you to know, that the only way I know how to put this kindly is he does not hurry. And he said, I gave him several cues. We testers give kids that we're testing for giftedness if they could speed it up, etc. And he just went on with his concentration and no hurry whatsoever, and that will be a problem for him. And it was not. He just never hurried. I had a problem walking and standing up for a long time, so sometimes I would ask Adam at age 3 or 4 or 5, could he just bring me a spoon, please? I don't know how you describe this piece of mothering when your little boy comes grinning, his hand behind his back, and hands you a 1/8 teaspoon. and he could not stop howling. And I said, honey, this is not the one I need. And then he would come back with a 1-cup measuring cup. And the biggest was ever a 4-cup Pyrex. So he had humor for a long time. And then 4th grade happened, and our Adam, our sweet Adam, learned how to lie to his parents. We did not have a clue that his teacher had been sending home very angry notes for us to come in immediately and meet with her for 6 months. And I finally said, when this all exploded, Adam, what did you do with those notes? And he said, well, there was this trash can when you were walking to the bus to go home every day. And I would just go like that. Long story short, this was a teacher of the year for Washington State. And she was beginning to have Alzheimer's, and the angry kind. And none of us knew that, none of us. So we went in with our kid, 4th grade, plopped him down, and his daddy said, Adam, you are responsible for all the things you did wrong, and we will give you support, but you will deal with every bit of it. And she was so angry with him. And she didn't stop. She didn't know how at that point in her disease. And at one point, Adam, this little squat kid, stood up, put his hands on his hips, and said, "Mrs. M, now you are lying. I did not do that, and you know it." So Adam had these not hurry, willing to stand up, speak truth to teacher, and he was a complex kid. So now I would like to jump to, first I gotta tell you, Adam curated all of this over 30 years. Sports memorabilia, caps, weird toys, fun toys, children's DVDs, Blood Simple. There's a real range over there. And when we're done here, you're very welcome to please pick out something to take with you as a thank you from Adam. And then I hope you come back and take the rest of the things too. Okay, big story about Adam. 1992, Adam was invited to something called Governor's School in Washington. I had never heard of it. His dad had never heard of it. We looked into it, and it was like some really privileged invitation to go for a month to Seattle U with 100 other teenagers and be immersed in leadership training from people who came all over the world to speak to this group of 100 people, these kids. I had a feeling it would change his life. But the parents got one letter from Governor's School. It said, you have to bring your kid to the opening ceremonies and you have to stay until they leave the stage. And that was all it said. I thought, okay, this will be fun because they're all separating like mad and don't want to sit by us. And they got, I don't know, an 8-page thing of all you can do and not do at Governor's School. So we went, and Adam was, he told me later, years later, he was in a time he decided he would see what happened if he was mean to me all the time. Just to try that. So I knew he didn't want to sit between his mom and his dad, but he did. So we marched up these stairs to this really old, maybe 100-year-old auditorium in Seattle U. And none of the other parents looked like they were in any better shape than we were. And all of the kids kind of had, it looked to me like their shoulders were back, and they were trying to walk behind their parents, and they didn't look anywhere. And Adam was doing the same thing. And I had been a psychotherapist, so I always just loved watching how people did and what they needed and how it was going. And we all looked just the same. We were sitting there with our kid, and they did not want to be with us, and that was fine. And then a man gets up and steps on the stage and told us his name and said he was the head of Governor's School that year. And then he just looked around the auditorium of 300 people and said, all right, kids, get up on this stage right now. And the kids didn't move. It was like, we were all paralyzed. And finally, very slowly, the kids would get up without looking at their parents and get out to the aisle and walk very slowly up to the stairs and get onto the stage. And then the man said, say goodbye to your parents. And they couldn't hardly do that either, of course. And I thought, well, this is pretty fun to watch. And the tension just built and built and built. And then they all kind of said, why? And that was fine. And then this man said, there are people standing here on this stage with you who have copies, and you're each going to get a copy. And that happened. They distributed them all, and the kids were just miserable. They could hardly stand still, and it just wasn't comfortable at all. And this man said, all right, pick up your paper and sing this right now. And the song was Lean on Me. And the best they could do, or even I could have done if I was up there, was. And that was it. And so then he said to those 100 kids, okay, file down off the stage and go out that door over there, and your leaders, that will be your group leaders for the whole 30 days, are out there waiting for you. And they didn't march, they just shuffled their feet. Goddamn, barely got out the door. And the parents breathed a big sigh of relief. And then that man looked at all the parents for a while and said, wait till they sing that song again when you come back in 30 days. And I thought, I don't know why you're expecting it to be better. That was, I don't know. So 30 days later, and we had almost no contact with our kid. 30 days later, all the parents were in that same old theater. And this energy came onto the stage that was huge. And then the kids showed up. And you guys, they were transformed for their lives. And they were completely joyous. They could hardly stand still. They had their arms around each other. And then the same MC came up and said, this year we've had the privilege of having 20 Navajo teenagers with us for the first time. And I've studied Navajo culture for forever, and what I know is they don't even get to have running water on their huge reservation. The government denies it every year. And he said, these kids are wonderful, and everybody said yay. And they have to leave right now because they've got to catch a train home. And so, will the rest of you kids please say goodbye to these kids? And instead, the other 80 kids ran to them and escorted them out the door into the limos to get up to the train. And when they came back in, they were crying. The 80 kids were. And grinning and bawling and standing up straight and taking full deep breaths, at which point they burst into Lean on Me. A cappella from the bottom of their hearts to the fullness of their souls. Arms around each other, saying goodbye to somebody they loved, acknowledging their parents by looking at us while they sang this song. So I would like to know if you would like to sing Lean on Me. Yes. Anybody who wants to, come on in. It's on your flyer, on your table. And treasured Matt has got it ready to play. Yes, and tears are optional. But feel free to sing loud.
I think that's all we had prepared. Yeah, so when folks have an opportunity, they want to go and go through Adam's. Yeah, don't push all at once. Yeah, feel free. Thank you all so much for coming. Okay. Oh yeah, very likely. Maggie, thank you again. Sonia, Matt, and again, thank you to all of Matt's friends and family. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for making the trip down here.
I know about it, but that's